Have you ever wondered how the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict began? The roots of this conflict can be traced back to the year 1948 with the founding of the State of Israel. The creation of this new state led to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, setting the stage for tensions that persist to this day. Fast forward to 1967, and Israel's capture of the West Bank, Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights in the Six-Day War. This event further intensified the conflict, causing additional displacement of Palestinians and igniting the flame of Palestinian nationalism. The displacement of Palestinians didn't just change the physical landscape, it also shaped the political landscape, sowing the seeds of resentment and resistance that would later manifest in the form of uprisings and revolts against Israeli rule. As we delve further into this complex history, it's essential to acknowledge the human cost of these events. The displacement of Palestinians was not just about losing homes, it was about losing communities, histories, and a sense of belonging. The same can be said about the Israelis living under the constant threat and fear of rocket attacks. The conflict between Israel and Hamas isn't just a political or territorial dispute, it's a deeply human conflict with real people bearing the brunt of the decisions made by their leaders. It's a story of two peoples, both with valid claims and deep-rooted connections to the same land, both seeking security and recognition. The path leading to the current state of conflict is long and winding, filled with missed opportunities for peace, escalating violence, and a growing sense of despair. But it's also a path that can lead us to a better understanding of the conflict and hopefully, to solutions that can bring lasting peace to the region. This set the stage for a series of uprisings and conflicts with far-reaching consequences. The tension between the two groups boiled over in 1987 with the First Intifada. This was a considerable uprising by Palestinians against Israeli rule, a struggle that spanned 6 years. The violence was widespread, resulting in the tragic loss of over 1,000 Palestinians and 160 Israelis. This period was marked by a significant surge in Palestinian nationalism and an escalation in the conflict. As the new millennium dawned, so did the Second Intifada, a renewal of the Palestinian uprising that began in the year 2000. This period was even more devastating than the first, with the death toll reaching over 4,000 Palestinians and 1,000 Israelis. This uprising was characterized by a series of intense confrontations, suicide bombings, and military operations. These uprisings further deepened the divisions between Israelis and Palestinians, creating an environment of mistrust and hostility that still permeates the region today. In an attempt to quell the tensions, the Oslo Accords were signed in 1993. These agreements, inked by Israel and the Palestinian Liberation Organization, aimed to provide a framework for peace and the establishment of a two-state solution. The accords were seen as a beacon of hope, a potential path towards harmony and cooperation in a region that had seen far too much strife. However, the light of that beacon quickly dimmed. The accords were not fully implemented, and peace remained elusive. The reasons for this were many, ranging from political disagreements to violent incidents that shook the fragile trust between the two parties. As a result, the conflict continued to simmer. Then, in 2007, a new player entered the scene: Hamas. This Palestinian militant group took control of the Gaza Strip, establishing a stronghold that has remained to this day. Hamas, whose name means zeal in Arabic, quickly became a formidable force in the ongoing conflict. However, the rise of Hamas was met with widespread condemnation. The United States, European Union, and Israel, among others, designated Hamas as a terrorist organization. This designation was due in part to the group's tactics, which include launching rockets into Israel, a clear violation of international law. Yet, in the Gaza Strip, Hamas found support among those who felt marginalized and ignored. The group's social services and its promise to fight against what it sees as Israeli occupation garnered it considerable backing. This rise of Hamas marked a significant shift in the dynamics of the Israel-Palestine conflict. The group's control over the Gaza Strip and its refusal to recognize the State of Israel have made the path to peace even more complex and fraught. This marked a significant turning point in the Israel-Hamas conflict. The stage was set for a new chapter, one that would see further escalation and suffering for both Israelis and Palestinians. The tension escalated into full-blown warfare in 2014. This year saw the eruption of a 50-day war in the Gaza Strip, a conflict that claimed the lives of over 2,000 Palestinians and 70 Israelis. This war was a stark reminder of the human cost of the conflict, with civilians on both sides bearing the brunt of the violence. In the densely populated Gaza Strip, the impact of the war was particularly devastating. Infrastructure was destroyed, homes were leveled, and countless lives were upended. But the challenges facing the people of Gaza do not end with the cessation of hostilities. The blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt on Gaza has created a dire humanitarian crisis. Basic necessities such as food and medicine are in short supply. The blockade has also crippled the economy, leaving a staggering number of people unemployed and pushing many into poverty. But the impact of the conflict is not confined to the Gaza Strip. In Israel, the fear of rocket attacks is a constant reality. The sirens that signal incoming rockets send Israelis scrambling for bomb shelters, a stark reminder of the ever-present threat. The conflict also brings economic and social challenges. Resources that could be used to address domestic issues are instead directed towards security and defense. In the face of these challenges, it's worth noting that the majority of Israelis and Palestinians yearn for peace. They want to live their lives without fear, to provide for their families without hindrance, and to see their children grow up in a world free of conflict. Yet achieving this peace is not straightforward. It requires negotiation, compromise, and above all, a recognition of the humanity of the other side. The conflict continues to this day, with no easy solution in sight. Yet hope persists, for it is in our nature to strive for peace, to seek out common ground, and to work towards a future where Israelis and Palestinians can coexist in harmony. Despite the grim situation, hope for a peaceful resolution remains. The crux of the matter lies in a fair two-state solution, negotiated with integrity and goodwill. The conflict, complex and deeply rooted, calls for significant compromises from both sides. It's a labyrinth of history, politics, and pain, but amid it all, peace must be the compass guiding the way. The road to peace is long and challenging, but it is a journey that must be taken for the sake of future generations.